You think you're going to start living when things finally settle down, when this project is finished, when the loan is paid off, when the kids are older, when you retire. You won't. If you never learn how to live in the middle of the mess, from one kind of stress to another, and then one day you look up and realize the later you were saving your life for is already gone. My name is Yusuf. I am 88 years old. I've watched 3 currencies change, 2 governments fall, I've lived too close to one war, and I've been to more funerals than weddings. I ran a tiny tailor shop on the same narrow street for over 50 years. Every day, the same metal shutter, the same wooden stool, the same old sewing machine humming like a tired insect. I'm not a guru. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm just an old man sitting by a window in a small house with shaky hands and memories that are somehow still sharp. I don't want to talk to you about success. I want to talk to you about what's left when success, work, reputation all pack their bags and quietly leave your life. If you are somewhere between 35 and 65, I'm talking to you. Think of this as a short letter sent back from your own future. For years, I told my wife, just one more good year at the shop. Once business is a little better, we'll go see the ocean. She had one big dream, to see the sea. She grew up in a village where the largest body of water was a narrow canal. When a movie showed big waves crashing, she'd lean forward toward the screen like she could almost touch them. Do you know how many times we went to the ocean in 49 years of marriage? Once, for 3 hours on a rushed family trip arranged by a relative. On the bus ride, she had a terrible headache. We argued about something stupid. Half the time, I was checking my watch, worried about closing the shop for a whole day, counting in my head how much money I was losing. I don't remember how much I earned that month. Not even roughly, but I remember every line of her face that day. I remember how, walking back to the bus, she kept turning her head to look at the water one more time, like she was trying to take the ocean home in her eyes. She died at 71. The sea is still there. She isn't. People love to say, real life will start later, when I finally relax, when I travel, when the big moments come. That's a lie. Your real life is the coffee you drink half asleep at 7 a.m. It's the traffic jam with your kid asking ridiculous questions in the back seat. It's the boring family dinner where everyone is half distracted and someone burns the bread. If you don't learn to love these small, ordinary things, no vacation, no dream trip, no fancy resort is going to teach you how to live. I spent 50 years bent over pieces of fabric, my eyes glued to tiny stitches, my back permanently tilted to one side. I told myself, real men don't complain about pain. So I avoided doctors, I smoked cheap cigarettes because everyone does. Now, my fingers shake so much I miss my shirt buttons 2 or 3 times before I get them through the hole. My knees crackle like someone crushing dry leaves. Some days, the distance from my bed to this chair by the window feels like crossing a desert. At 40, you think, I'm just a little tired. At 55, you say, back pain is normal, everyone has it. At 65, you bargain with yourself, if I climb the stairs slowly, it'll be fine. At 75, your body stops bargaining. It hands you the bill for the way you've treated it. You don't have to be an athlete, but if you can still walk, walk. If you can still lift something, lift it. If your heart still lets you climb the stairs and let yourself breathe hard. You're not training for a 6-pack. You're building a body that can take you to the bathroom by yourself at 80. That is dignity. Protect it. My father was a thin, quiet old man. Every afternoon, he'd lie down on the same old cot he'd had since I was a boy and take a short nap. One Wednesday, the neighbors were running to my shop. "Yusuf, come quickly. Your father doesn't look right." I ran home. His body was still warm. I shook him and said, "Baba, wake up. Why did you leave so early?" But that's not the moment that haunts me. What haunts me are all the evenings I came home late and found him sitting on the doorstep listening to his little radio. I'd walk past him and mumble, "I'm tired, we'll talk later." Later never came. Now, all I have is the memory of his thin hands folded over his knees, his eyes on the street, as if he was waiting for someone. For his son, who never sat down beside him and asked him, "What was scared you were 20? What did you want from your life?" If your parents are still alive, don't treat them like furniture that will always be there in the corner of your life. Go to them. Ask them about their first job. Ask who they loved. Ask what kept them awake at night. Record their voice on your phone. Memory is a weak container. It leaks. On a shelf in my house, there is an old tin box full of photographs. The pictures are curled, yellowing at the edges. In one of them, 12 people are standing in front of a mango tree. I recognize 2 faces, mine and my wife Salma's. The others? I truly don't know who they are. Cousins, neighbors, someone's child. All of them once had entire worlds inside them. Hopes, fears, the taste of certain summers on their tongue. Now, in this house, no one can even say their names. I used to think memory would always be there. I was wrong. Memory is wet sand. It holds the shape of your footprints for a little while, then each wave erases another line. The pictures you're taking on your phone today, put names on them, make folders, write down how you met your best friend, where you went the first time you traveled together, why you walked out of that first big job. One day, your grandchild will find a photo of you laughing with some stranger and wonder, who was this person to them? Try to leave them an answer. My wife, Salma, loved to talk. She'd come by the shop, lean on the counter, and tell me every little story, what drama happened at the neighbor's house, what the children did in school. Most of the time, I barely looked up. I'd make the right noises, yes, okay, and nod at the wrong moments. She'd stop and ask, half angry, "Are you listening to me or am I talking to the wall?" In my head, I'd think, we live together, we share a house and bills, that's enough. You can spend decades orbiting around each other without ever really seeing each other. The person you're sharing your life with, ask them the kind of questions you'd ask a new friend. What are you most afraid of? What did you want to be at 15? When do you feel most alone, even when I'm saying right here? Love isn't proven only by staying. It's proven by paying attention. My son wanted to be a musician. I wanted him to be respectable, an engineer, a doctor, something with a straight line and a pension at the end. We fought. I said cruel things I can't take back. Music is for people who don't have real responsibilities. He moved out. For 3 years, we only spoke on big holidays, and even then it felt like 2 strangers being polite. He didn't become a famous star. He became a music teacher at a small school, an old harmonium, a handful of children singing out of tune. He earns enough to live, and he smiles more than I ever did at his age. The night my wife died, while we were waiting for the hospital to bring her body home, he came and sat on the floor beside me. For a long time, we said nothing. Then he whispered, "Dad, I never wanted your money. I just wanted you not to be ashamed of me. Your children will always look like children to you, even when they have gray in their hair. But they are not your property. Their life will take a shape you may not fully understand.
Their success is not becoming your copy. Their success is having the courage to be themselves, and your success is loving them anyway. I had a friend named Kareem. We met standing in line for train tickets when we were 19. Somehow, in that long, sweaty line, we became friends for life. For about 30 years, every Sunday morning, we had tea at the same little stall. Same wobbly table, same chipped glasses, same old jokes that still made us laugh. Then life got busy. I skipped one Sunday, then another. I sent him a message. Work's crazy. We'll meet next month for sure. Months turned into 2 years. Then I heard he was in the hospital, liver failing. His eyes had a yellow tint. I hurried there. He looked at me, managed to smile, and said, "Look at you, coming all this way. You could have just come for tea, you know." He died 3 weeks later. I would give 1 full year of my remaining life for one more ordinary Sunday morning at that tea stall with him. Friendship doesn't survive on good intentions. It survives on small, repeated actions. The people you don't want to lose don't only show up for their weddings and funerals. Send stupid little messages, share a joke, meet for coffee, be there for the boring days. For most of my life, people didn't call me Yusuf. They called me Master G, a respectful way of saying the tailor. Master G, when will my suit be ready? Master G, please, a little discount. I complained, but I loved it. That name, that shop, that humming machine, that was who I was. The day I closed the shutter for the last time, my son was with me. He took a photo, smiled, and said, "Now you can rest, Dad." The next morning, I woke up at my usual time, got dressed, put on my shoes, and realized there was nowhere I needed to go. No one waiting, no cloth on the table, no one calling out, "Master G." For almost a year, I wandered around the house like a ghost. I bothered my daughter-in-law, moved things around in the kitchen, told the same old stories to anyone who couldn't escape fast enough, partly because I needed them to remember I had once been someone. It took me a shamefully long time to understand. Retirement wasn't the problem. The problem was that I had built my whole identity on being useful to other people. Once they didn't need me as much, I thought I didn't exist. You still have time. Learn who you are without your job title. Do something that doesn't earn money but feeds your soul. Books, gardening, painting, writing, prayer, anything. Get comfortable with your own company, because one day, sooner than you think, it might be mostly you and your shadow. You don't want to be afraid of the person you're alone with. The night my wife's body left our home for the funeral, I slept alone in the room we had shared for 49 years. Everything smelled like her. Her cup still in the kitchen, her shawl over the back of the chair. If I opened the wardrobe, her scent hit me like a wave. When everyone left and the noise was gone, the house felt like a stranger. The bed felt twice as big, like someone had cut my body in half. I wanted to turn on the TV, call someone, fill the silence with any sound. Instead, I slid down to the floor, leaned my head against the side of the bed, and cried like a child whose favorite toy has been smashed. That night, 2 things could have happened. The silence could have crushed me, or it could have held me. What happened was it held me. It went on, wide and dark, but it didn't break me. After a while, I found myself talking to her photograph on the wall. I still do. I tell her who got married, who changed jobs, which grandchild is being foolish. Maybe nobody's listening. Maybe it's just my own voice coming back to me. That's okay. In the end, a lot of love turns into what you say to a chair, to a pillow, to a picture frame. Don't be so afraid of loneliness. It will find you sooner or later, no matter how fast you run. If you spend your whole life running from being alone with yourself, loneliness will hit you like a wall when it finally catches up. Start practicing now. Take a walk without headphones. Eat one meal a week without your phone or a screen. Let your mind wander, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Being able to sit with yourself is a skill. The sooner you learn it, the softer old age becomes. When I was 20, a year felt like a long road. Holidays took forever to arrive. School breaks stretched on like they would never end. Next year felt far, far away. After 60, everything changed. Our holidays would come and go, then winter, then summer, then the same holidays again. The calendar pages seemed to flip faster and faster, as if someone was impatient to finish my story. I remember my 70th birthday clearly. There was biryani on the table. My grandchildren made a messy, colorful card that said, "Happy birthday, Grandpa." We laughed, we took pictures. The birthdays after that blur. 71, 72, 73. Then, suddenly, someone was trying to fit 80 candles on a cake, and we were all laughing because they obviously couldn't. Now I'm 88. Some afternoons I fall asleep in this chair and wake up wondering, what year is it? How did we get here so fast? Days blend, faces blend. Whole months disappear when I try to remember them. What remains are a few sharp snapshots. My daughter's hand gripping mine tightly as her mother's body was carried away. My grandson standing beside me, patiently showing me for the 10th time, "Press here, Abu. This opens the camera. This button starts the video." That last, slightly bitter cup of tea with Kareem at the stall. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you so you pay attention. Notice the way your child's hand feels in yours today. Notice that your mother walks a little slower than she did last year. Notice that your partner's hair has more white in it now. Time will not slow down for you, but you can slow yourself down long enough to actually inhabit your days instead of just getting through them. Right now, as I speak this, the afternoon light is crawling slowly up the wall. Outside, someone is shouting about vegetables for sale. Children are arguing over a game in the street. A motorcycle with a broken muffler is making too much noise. From the next room, I hear my great-granddaughter laughing at a cartoon. My hands ache. My knees burn. My memory drops little things every day, like a careless waiter dropping glasses from a tray. But my heart is clear enough to know this. If I could send one single message back to the man I was at 50, it wouldn't contain stock tips or lottery numbers. It would say, "Turn off the sewing machine and go to your daughter's school play. Do the shop's accounts later. Right now, sit next to your father on the doorway and let him finish his boring old story. When your wife is telling you some small, trivial thing about the neighbors, put your phone down and look into her eyes. If your son invites you to a concert with strange, loud music you don't understand, go with him anyway. Don't take your wife to see the ocean once. Take her so many times she finally says, 'Okay, I've seen enough.' You think you have time to do all of this later. You don't have as much time as you think. So don't just nod at these words and scroll away. Call the person you've been meaning to call. Stretch your stiff body and drink some water. Sit down next to the person in your house who talks too much, and just for once, listen to them without checking your phone, without trying to fix anything. Many years from now, an old version of you will sit in